national anthem. O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we always stand. E Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Serumaga. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank members of the press for having spared your time to come and listen to us. With me here, I'm with Commissioner Land Registration Mugaino Baker. We are expecting some other people to join us from the ministry. I have two issues I'm going to talk about this morning. And the first one, which you will allow me begin with, is a circular that we have developed from the ministry, a circular regarding land operations and administration. This is a circular that has been released to all stakeholders. And these guidelines are going to guide the stakeholders when they are handling what we call land-related matters. So I'll go straight to the circular. The government has issued circular number 1 of 2026 to bring order, coordination, and accountability to the management of land disputes across Uganda. The circular takes immediate effect and applies to all responsible ministries, departments and agencies, resident district and city commissioners, security agencies, local governments, surveyors, and all other persons involved in land dispute interventions across the country. Land disputes are causing violence, loss of property, insecurity, disruption of investment, and unnecessary pressure on the courts and law enforcement agencies. From today, no government officer, security agency, surveyor, or private actor should intervene in a disputed land matter outside a lawful, coordinated, and documented process. Therefore, under this circular, I direct as follows. No person may be evicted, all structure demolished, based on influence, verbal instructions, administrative letters, all unverified documents. Evictions and demolitions may proceed only under a lawful, verifiable court order issued through the due process and implemented in compliance with all the applicable safeguards, including the Presidential Executive Order number 2 of 2022. The key aspects of this directive are: respect the courts. Where a dispute is before a court of competent jurisdiction, all agencies must respect the proceedings and court orders. No administrative authority may review, vary, delay, frustrate, or take control of a judicial process. We have been finding challenges where the court processes are still ongoing, but meanwhile on ground there is uncoordinated troop movement. People are threatening to evict others. They are taking others to police to make statements. They are evicting people before court has made its final pronouncement. And that's why we are saying we must respect that process. If there is an ongoing court case, we don't expect things to be going on in an area where that dispute is. Number 2, coordinate every intervention, investigations, locus visits, field verifications, and security operations must formally be coordinated with the resident district or city security committees, and they should fully document whatever process is taking place in their respective districts. Next, stop uncoordinated security deployments. Security personnel must not be moved or deployed to influence possession or ownership of disputed land. Where violence, destruction, or threats to life occur, police and other competent agencies must intervene promptly and lawfully protect life and property and preserve evidence. Control locus visits and surveys. Except where expressly sanctioned by a court, non-court locus visits require the Minister of State for Land prior written approval or clearance from the district or city security committee as a committee, not the RDC as a single person. Survey activities on disputed land must be traceable, coordinated, and must not be used to confuse, dispossess, or prejudice occupants. Next, no private enforcement. Private security guards have no authority to determine ownership, enforce disputed claims, or carry out evictions in contentious land matters. Next, end of forum shopping and corruption. Complainants and officials must use the established referral systems, solicitation, bribery, influence peddling, abuse of office, and receipt of unauthorized benefits will attract disciplinary or criminal action. The ministry will establish a dispute resolution desk to receive and coordinate eligible complaints, prevent duplication, and refer matters to the agencies best placed to act or investigate, and all interventions must produce a verifiable report investigations assigned by the minister should be completed within 3 months, unless otherwise directed in writing. An agency unable to act must return the assignment within 2 weeks and give reasons why they cannot execute. Where necessary and permitted by law, a commissioner's caveat may be lodged to protect disputed land pending inquiry or determination. Information received under the circular will centrally be recorded and treated as confidential for the official purpose for which it was supplied. I direct permanent secretaries, heads of agencies, RDCs and RCCs, and city security committees, police commanders, local authorities, and surveyors to disseminate and implement the circular immediately. I also urge citizens to remain calm, preserve documents and evidence to avoid violence, and seek redress only through lawful channels. The government's message is very clear. Land disputes will no longer be managed through force, intimidation, or parallel orders, or corruption. Every intervention must be lawful, coordinated, documented, and accountable. I want to thank you so much for your kind attention. That is a summary of our circular, which is going to be given to you, and we will request you to help us disseminate, circulate it, so that each and every stakeholder knows their mandate, but what is expected of them by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. I thank you for your kind attention, for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. When you say the circular has been passed, could you have registered any cases, land matters, that had been resolved under dispute, maybe have been resolved not in the rightful channels? Could you be having like the statistics of maybe cases? Thank you.
For the cases, I'll ask the Commissioner, Land Administration, who has just joined us, to come and take us through what we have registered, because he directly supervises the agencies but also land matters in the ministry. Sembatia.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, and my colleague. Media houses present. My name is Joseph Sembatia, Commissioner of Land Administration in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. I think in terms of statistics, we may not have clearly captured those ones that have been wrongfully resolved. But internally, of course, we have structures that are dealing with disputes that keep emerging every other day. And of course, there are some notorious ones that we've resolved, and there are yet more that we are yet to resolve. We are also alive to the fact that there are quite a number of agencies that are involved in the resolution of disputes, and probably the reason as to why we thought it important to come up with these guidelines for purposes of streamlining and coordinating the resolution of these disputes. Yes, in terms of statistics, I think I can request the colleague who raised that issue to probably come to office, and we shall be able to avail with the specific. Yes. I don't know whether I've attempted to answer your question, but internally, yes, a lot is being done. And actually, in terms of statistics, we receive not less than 20, 30 complaints being lodged every week. So they are quite a number. In terms of resolution, it takes a little bit of time, but I've been in office for about 2 years now, and I could say we have successfully resolved over 10 disputes have been resolved in that context. But as for other agencies that are involved, talk of the Land Police Protection Unit, the Office of the President, the Brigadier Chams, and so many others, we have not been getting reports, and that's why we feel this is an opportune moment for us to keep getting these updates, the official updates now as the central ministry responsible for the disputes. I thank you. Uganda. Omwabuuzizza nti oba tulina ebibalo ebiraga enkaayana mmeka ezisolovingiddwa, simanyi oba Oluganda nakifuna, ezigonjoddwa. Mu kuddamu kwange ngamba nti eno y'ensonga lwaki tubadde tukola mu ngeri etali coordinated bulungi nga agencies ez'enjawulo eziri mu nsonga z'ettaka. So statistics ayinza okuba nga tali readily available. Naye going forward, we believe we can now operate in tuyinza okutambulira mu nkola ennuŋŋamu nga tufuna alipoota eziva mu bitongole ebyenjawulo kituyambeko okumanya ngeri ki gye tutambula. Naye mu ministry, yo nga ministry, tufuna complaints ezitakka wansi wa 30 buli wiiki ezikwata ku nkaayana ku ttaka. Naye mu bbanga ery'omwaka nga gumu gwe tubadde tugoberera ensonga zino obulungi, kiraga nti at least disputes nga 10 zisobodde okubeera nga zigonjoolwa. Era kye tuzudde ekirala nti abantu abamu bakaayana mu ttaka si lwakuba nti baagala, naye olumu wabeerawo obutamanya. Nga bwe bajja ne mugezaako balambika, abamu bakkiriza ne bamanya nti balina ensobi mu ngeri emu oba endala, era entalo ezo ne ziba nga zigonjoolebwa mu buufu obwo. Neeyanziza.
I hope he answered that question. But in addition, I would say that uncoordinated troop movement has been causing more harm than good. It's like everyone wants to prove that they are experts in land management and land matters. So many people have opened up offices claiming to be helping Ugandans. And at the end of the day, we get Ugandans to our office that they have been cheated. They have been cheated, and some of the people who are trying to do this work, they are not known anywhere in our structures as government. And that's why we said no, we must be coordinated. We first started by those we know who are appointed by His Excellency, the agencies that handle land-related matters, but away from those, there are so many other people who are trying to say that they have a solution, yet they are causing more harm than what is expected. That's why we said that let us have guidelines to guide whichever stakeholder is handling land-related matters. Let our efforts be coordinated in one direction. You get clearance from the State Minister for Lands, or clearance from the District Security Committee as a whole. I would give you an example. There are so many assistant RDCs. Everyone is moving in a different direction, and they are making decisions which are not informed by law, and we cannot allow that to continue when we haven't guided the country. That's why we are coming up to say no. Enough is enough. Those of you who opened offices wherever they are, please stop, or else go to the District Security Committee, work with them, and their activities, all actions must be documented in a form of a report that will be forwarded to the Minister of State for Lands, who will then come and brief me on what is taking place. We have seen people investigating They investigate, they make pronouncements, and no report is submitted to the ministry. How do you expect the ministry, which is mandated to manage land affairs in the country, to take action when your report was only seen on social media? It did not come to the ministry, which is responsible to clarify or correct whatever wrong was done. So that's why we are saying, let us coordinate, let us move as one government, let us use what we call the whole of government approach. Whoever is doing what is called land dispute management, they should share their reports with us, coordinate with the district security committees for approvals and clearance. Several surveyors are everywhere, even those who are quacks, who are not registered surveyors, doing what they call boundary opening without clearance from the district security committees. All that must stop. Let them be coordinated by the district security committee so that at the end of the day, they know they are accountable to somebody. There is a layer of accountability. That's what we want. So I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. From Daily Monitor. We've seen severally that the people who actually enforce evictions are powerful people connected to the security, and the security people don't take instructions from the Ministry of Land. It's either the Internal Affairs Ministry or the Ministry of Defense. What powers does the Ministry of Land have beyond issuing the circular and directives to ensure that this is enforced to the letter?
Of course, we work with other ministers. We don't work in isolation. Even when we were discussing these guidelines, all agencies you are talking about, they were represented in those meetings that I shared. They were represented, and we have written to their bosses to tell them this is a final document we have come up with to guide the operations when it comes to land dispute resolution and land management in the various districts across the country. So we believe that through that coordination and working together, we shall streamline.
Tubadde tusaba guidelines ezo mu Luganda katono.
N'ekiwandiiko kye twagala buli muntu akola ku nsonga ez'ettaka, guidelines oba ebintu by'alina okugoberera. Bino byendeese olwaleero tubikoze nga tutuuza enkiiko ez'enjawulo n'ebitongole eby'enjawulo n'abamu ku bantu abalondoola ensonga ezikwata ku by'ettaka. Twagala tweyongere okuba nga tukolera wamu n'okubeera nga tetukubagana mpawanga tuli mu field. Tukizudde nti abantu bagenda mu field, ono ayogera kino, ono ayogera kiri, ne tubuzaabuza bawanayinki. Twetaaga abantu bagende mu field bakole ku nsonga z'ettaka nga district security committee emanyi, ne minister avunaanyizibwa ku nsonga z'ettaka amanyi ekigenda mu maaso. Ate era ne bwe baba bamaliriza okukola bye bakola, reports zaabwe babe nga bazisubmitinga. Tujja kuteekawo dashboard emanya biki ebikoleddwa na recommendations ki ezituukiddwako. Kino kiyambe minister ne district security committees okumanya ensonga ezikoleddwako oba biki ebyetaaga okubeera nga birongoosebwa. Ebintu ebimu ebibadde bigenda mu maaso n'Abannayuganda badde weesanga nga ayinza okugenda ku poliisi n'ajja ku ministry n'agenda ewa IGG n'agenda mu State House Anti-Corruption. Ensonga eri emu naye agitutte mu offices ezo zonna. Kati kye twagala ensonga bw'eba ku poliisi ng'ebitongole bino bisobola okukwatagana ne bigatta wamu amaanyi, buli omu n'ataggulawo fayiro. Ekyo kiyamba resources obutagenda naye n'okumanya nti batambulira wamu, kubanga ffenna tuli gavumenti, tulina okukolera wamu ng'ebitongole bya gavumenti. Twogedde nti teri muntu ajja kugobebwa ku ttaka oba ekizimbe okumenyebwa ng'emitendera gy'amateeka tegigobereddwa. Ekibadde kigenda mu maaso, emisango giri mu kooti, eno ku ground ebiriyo birala. Bakyali mu kooti tennaba kusalawo, naye eno baleese ebimotoka baagala kugoba bantu, eno bali ku ground babagamba tugabane. Kati ebyo byonna tugamba nti nedda. Omusango bwe guba nga guli mu kooti, mugumiikirize embeera esigale nga bweri paka kooti ng'emaze okusalawo tumanye ekiddako. Ate n'ekiba kisaliddwawo kooti okuteekebwa mu nkola kirina okugoberera emitendera omuli ne executive order ow'ekitiibwa pulezidenti wa Uganda gye yawa ku nsonga zino ez'ettaka. Tusuubira nti bwe tunaatereeza ebintu bino ne tuba nga tukwataganira wamu kijja kutuyamba. Era tujjanga na kusisinkana buli myezi 3 okwongera okwekennenya n'ezo agencies n'abantu abakola ku nsonga z'ettaka okumanya biki bye basanze, tutuuseewa, reports bazisubmitinze, tuyinza kukola tutya okulaba nga bannayuganda bayambibwa. Ebyo byonna tubireeta okwongera okulaba nti ettaka litebenkera ne bannayuganda okwongera okweyagalira mu nsi yaabwe n'okukozesa ettaka oba ebibanja byabwe nga tewaliiwo buzibu bw'amaanyi obuleetebwa abantu ab'enjawulo abali mu mulimu guno. Abantu bangi babadde baguddewo bu offices kaada so and so onaani simanyi onaani mbu bakola ku nsonga z'ettaka. Naye ng'akola ku nsonga z'ettaka omulimu gwe buli ajja leeta consultation fee. Ate bw'agenda ku ground n'avuluga kubanga etteeka talinnyonnyoka bulungi. Kati twagala ebyo byonna bibeere coordinated district security committee ebeere liable ng'emanya ani ali luddawa kiki kyakola. Era bw'aba akikoze report agireese nebeera submitted mu district security committee ne minister avunaanyizibwa ku by'ettaka n'abeera nga report eyo agifunye. Ekyo tusuubira nti kijja tuyambako okwemulugunya okubadde kubuliwo mu bantu okukendeera n'okulaba nga abantu bafuna service eyo ng'erambikiddwa bulungi. That's it. Titles until December came because of the numerous and increasing complaints from members of the public. Registered proprietors, financial institutions, traditional institutions, administrators, and beneficiaries of estates and other stakeholders concerning circumstances in which special certificates of the title have allegedly been obtained or issued contrary to the laid down procedure. As the political head of the ministry, I have received many complaints relating to the alleged double titling, overlapping interests, fraudulent statutory declarations, manipulation of succession processes, irregular dealings involving land belonging to the deceased persons, and subsequent transfer of land based on special certificates. Yet the original duplicate certificates are known to still be in existence. This calls for internal investigations to protect the integrity of our Uganda's land register. Government recognizes that a certificate of title represents registered proprietary interest and is relied upon by citizens, courts of law, financial institutions, investors, purchasers, and institutions when making decisions involving substantial economic value. It is therefore essential that the process through which a replacement is done goes through the same legal efficacy so as to protect original certificates against fraud, abuse, administrative errors, and also manipulations. The temporary halting does not abolish the procedure to acquire a special certificate of title, nor it is intended to permanently deny genuine registered proprietors access to the statutory mechanism for replacing a certificate that has genuinely been lost or destroyed. Rather, the temporary halting is intended to enable government to identify and close the gaps and also identify the weaknesses that are existing in the current system. Investigate reported abuses. We will strengthen, verify, and do due diligence when it comes to issuing of those certificates. We are going also to establish safeguards that protect both the registered proprietors and the innocent third parties when it comes to such titles. Special certificates of title are not inherently problematic. The concern is the abuse, manipulation of the process through which they are obtained or issued by the Office of Titles. The 3 months intervention provides an opportunity for the ministry to address the weaknesses in the system and also restore public confidence in the register, and also introduce administrative measures to protect registered landowners and staff during the course of the registration process. During this period, the ministry will work with all relevant investigative agencies. We shall work with the Law Society, the Bankers Association, the Private Sector Foundation, the Survey Registration Board, and any other identified professional bodies to develop a stronger, more transparent and accountable process that will be followed for these certificates to be issued. We need to review what we have now and make it a little bit tighter, stronger, and avoid on the current challenges. Where mistakes have occurred, they will be corrected in accordance with the law. Where procedures are found to be inadequate, they will be administratively strengthened, recommendations made even for the amendment of the Registration of Titles Act. Police officers found responsible for misconduct will face appropriate disciplinary actions as stipulated in the Public Service Standing Orders, while third parties who deliberately collude or submit wrong information to discredit the system will also be handed over for further investigations and held accountable according to the law. Government will also ensure that complaints from innocent citizens who may have been affected are rectified and handled fairly, expeditiously, based on evidence submitted in accordance with the law. Government remains committed to ensuring that genuine proprietors who actually lose their original certificates retain access to the lawful mechanism established to protect their interests. The objective is to strike the right balance between security and accessibility, due diligence and efficiency, and administrative oversight and the statutory independence of the registrar. One parcel of land must have one legitimate title, but not several titles. The land register must be trusted, must be credible, must be authentic. No Ugandan should use or lose his or her land because another person was able to manipulate the process for obtaining a special certificate of title. I have directed my permanent secretary to constitute the technical team with proper terms of reference, stipulating the 3 months timeline, the scope of work and deliverables, and I have also instructed the Office of Titles to notify courts of law about this development so that when clients and stakeholders take it as refusal to provide land services during these 3 months, they are aware of what is going on as stipulated in Section 166 of the Registration of the Titles Act. The ministry calls upon all stakeholders and members of the public to cooperate with the review process and provide relevant information through the appropriate channels. I want to thank you once again for listening to me, for God and my country. Mutubuuziza ku special certificates ze twayimirizaamu okuba nga zikolebwa tusobole okutereeza engeri gye zibadde zikolebwamu. Wabaddewo ennambika egobererwa okusinziira ku tteeka ly'ebyapa, naye ng'ennambika eyo abantu abamu tebagigoberera nga bw'erina okuba. Kubanga omuntu ekyapa kye bwe kiba kyabula oba kyayulika, ogenda ku poliisi n'ofuna n'oteekayo report. Report eyo ne bakuwa akapapula akalaga nti ddala ebiwandiiko byo byabula. N'ogenda ewa Commissioner Land Registration ne batandika okulaba ngeri ki gye basobola okuzzaawo ekyapa kye kyabula oba ekyayulika. Naye kye tuzudde nti abantu abamu babadde bakozesa enkola eno eri mu tteeka ate okuba ebyapa ku ttaka ly'abantu ng'ebyapa byabwe gyebiri bye tuyita original nga gyebiri, ng'oli ayina ekyapa kye oli n'agenda naga nti kyabula ng'ate ekyapa gye kiri. Ng'oli ayina ekyapa kye oba kiri wa Manerenda oba kiri wa looya, abala ne bavaayo abooluganda ne bagenda ne baloopa ku poliisi ekyapa kibuze era ne bafuna ebiwandiiko byonna ne bagenda ne bakola kye tuyita special certificate of title. Abantu bangi bazze nga beemulugunya ng'ettaka lyabwe kwe batudde, ennyumba zaabwe we ziri n'ebyapa nga babirina, ng'omuntu yazuukuse n'ateekako kye tuyita special certificate of title. Kati tugezaako okulongoosa engeri certificates ezo gye zibadde zigabwamu, okulaba nti twongera okunyweza emitendera egiyitwamu okusobola okulaba nti abantu tebakozesa tteeka ate kwonoona na kukyupula oba na kubba bannaabwe ttaka nga bakola ebyapa. Kubanga ekyapa bwe kivaayo ne kituula ku kyapa ekirala ng'ate ekyapa weekiri, weesanga nti olwo confusion ebezze ku ground. Kati kino ekikoleddwa tujja kusaba Bannayuganda bagumiikirize ne ba stakeholders abalala bonna abali mu industry eno. Titugezaako kutereeza era tusuubira nti myezi 3 tujja kuvaayo nga tutegedde bulungi obuzibu buli luddawa nawo we tulina okunywezaamu okulaba nti special certificates bwe ziba zikoleddwa zikolebwa nga ntuufu nga tezirina buzibu bwonna. Era tujja kusaba ebitongole eby'enjawulo okugumiikiriza. Bwe binaagumiikiriza ate nabyo tubisabe bituwe amagezi obuzibu buli luddawa, b'ensonga eno babadde bagiraba batya, tusobole okulaba nti tukwasiza wamu ti bwe tuba nga tuvuddeyo ne recommendations zijja kukola ate oba oliawo weesange nti ne bwe tunaaba tulongoosa mu tteeka lyaffe recommendations ezo tujja zikozesa okulaba nti etteeka lyongerera ddala okunywera n'okulaba nga Bannayuganda tebabbibwako ttaka lyabwe ng'ate ebyapa babirina. Ne weesanga ng'oli abbye ettaka lyo ate alitemyetemye namu takoma na kubeera na special certificate ate n'atemaatemamu ne weesanga ng'aguzizza n'abantu abalala bangi abamu abatamanyi ti ddala wagenze n'okola ekintu ng'ate ekyapa original oba duplicate kiina we kiri. Kati ne twesanga abantu bangi bakosebwa mu mbeera eyo. N'olwekyo tubasaba kugumiikiriza, tujja kuba tubawa update